You all know Benzinga Pro for being a financial news platform. And today we're actually going to show you how to use the tool that is at the heart of this platform. News is at the heart of our business, and this platform makes it very easy to filter out noise and find the news that's important to you. So we're going to give you a quick rundown and some pro tips on some of these features within the newsfeed. Jonathan might also be sharing some of his favorite categories with you in case that's something that you're interested in. So Jonathan, what do you say here?
Yeah, let's dive right into it. I mean, the newsfeed is kind of what we're known for mostly here at Benzinga, at least on the Benzinga Pro side of the business. And there's a lot of different ways that you can narrow down all of this information to find something that would make an actual trade. So if you're inside of Benzinga Pro, you got your navigation bar there on the left-hand side with the newsfeed icon at the very top. So you just click on that icon to open up that tool within your current workspace. And you can see we have a whole bunch of different headlines here. And there's a few different things to pay attention to when you're choosing which types of headlines to include in your newsfeed. Number one is latency. Or the speed of the news. I mean, obviously, if you're paying for Benzinga Pro, you want it before CNBC, before Yahoo Finance, all of these other sites, right? And so on the right-hand side, you'll see that a lot of these say BZ Wire, and those are curated headlines straight from our professional news desk, which means they're manually typed in. Now, that can be great because they know which data points to highlight. They have a lot of experience in the market. However, that does add a few seconds or a few minutes to when that would show up on your feed. I mean, they have to synthesize that information and type it all down. However, there are other automated sources you can add to this feed. And to do that, you click on the sources button in the upper left corner, just underneath that search bar. And so you'll see Benzinga Signals is at the top there. That would be for things like block trades, unusual options, price spikes. And then toward the bottom, we have press releases and SEC filings. Now, press releases are my favorite way to get the fastest news possible. Because if a company is paying one of these press release firms to distribute that information to media companies like Benzinga, then it's pretty much instantaneous. As soon as that comes out, you're going to see it on your feed. And I don't know of any other way to get that information faster. So you can see here we've got all of these press releases selected, and we just click done in the bottom right corner to activate that on our feed. So everything in brown here is a press release. You can see it adds a lot of information, but then the question is, what am I going to do with this information? I mean, I don't know about all of you watching, but I cannot read through 1,000, 2,000 press releases a day. It's not very helpful for me. And that's where the category filters come in. So up in the upper left corner next to sources, we just click on categories, and we have this nice list of different types of news items that we can filter for within our news feed. So if you want FDA approvals, contracts, well, I'm getting ahead of myself here, but let's just start at the top. And actually, if you do have the ability to take notes right now, this would be a great time to do that because this is my personal list that I use on a daily basis. So first thing I would start with is analyst ratings. I'm looking for positive catalysts, usually on smaller price per share stocks that are going to drive that price up. So I want those upgrades and initiations. And so we just check those boxes. And as soon as we check these boxes here, it's telling our system, I only want to see news that has to do with these topics. Then underneath analyst ratings, we have the general category. And within general, my favorite two there are biotech and healthcare. And you can highlight any one of these in different colors. I usually highlight these in blue, both of them to match since they're related to each other. Again, that's biotech and healthcare underneath general. Then underneath general, we have hot. The hot category consists of the most important items of the day that could move the entire market. Major economic events, earnings or IPOs that everybody's watching, coronavirus updates, geopolitical situations, so on and so forth. So pay attention to the hot category. Then underneath hot, we have M&A for mergers and acquisitions. Oftentimes, insane moves can be hard to trade, but they're still good to know about. And if you catch a rumor, which we'll find out here in a moment where to get those rumors, then you could play a merger before it actually happens, or an acquisition before it actually happens. Then underneath M&A, the last one here is news. Under the news category, notice how we didn't check the box for news because we don't want all of these different subcategories. We'll just go to the top there where it says asset sales. This is where a company is selling an asset like a factory or a subsidiary firm. And Ryan highlighted it in green there, what I usually do. I think green for cash. They're receiving cash for that asset that they're selling. And then contracts. I usually highlight that in green as well because they're inking a deal for future goods or services rendered. And at that time, they will receive money for those goods or services. All right, hopping down a little bit, we have FDA. Food and Drug Administration. This is, again, very important for those biotech companies for the research and development process. I usually highlight this in blue so it matches my biotech and healthcare category. So if I see blue, instantly I think healthcare, biotech, etc. All right, two more here. We got rumors near the bottom. I usually highlight rumors in hot pink so it really pops out on my news feed. And this can range anywhere from a press release that's being circulated in chat rooms that's impacting some penny stock, all the way up to, you know, a more reputable news source giving concrete information, like hearing some sell side firm giving a $70 price target to a blue chip stock. You know, that could have immediate impact as well as sustained momentum if it comes to fruition. But you always want to differentiate between different types of news. There's pump and dump news, which you still want to know about if you're trading those penny stocks or pump and dump type day trading companies. And then there's the more concrete news that could impact the fundamentals of a company. And then, you know, there's a lot more in here. We got I usually don't include these on my short list, but if you're looking for IPOs, earnings, guidance, dividends, it's all right here under the news section. And many of those have correlating calendars that are available within the calendar tool. So then we just click done in the bottom right corner. And boom, you can see it really pops out at us. For me, it's a lot easier to process that information with those highlights that we've applied to the news feed. So green, cash, blue, healthcare. You can see we have some brown press releases in there. And Ryan, can you go ahead and click on one of those press releases just to showcase the category tag? So if we scroll down here to the bottom of this press release, you'll see it's kind of hard for me to see on my screen, but I think it says healthcare. So that means that our AI system automatically applied the category tag for healthcare to this press release, which means you don't have to read through thousands of press releases to find something that's relevant to your trading style. So you have the best of both worlds. You have the speed of the press releases plus the filtering capabilities of our AI system. And then you also have BZ Wire for that curated news source straight from our professional news desk. So thanks for dealing with my monologue there, Ryan. I'm sure you might have something to add on some of your favorite ways to use the newsfeed.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you did a great job covering it. The one thing that I want to talk about was the rumors category that you briefly mentioned. There's an old adage in the stock market that says, buy the rumor, sell the news. And it can be a very effective way of playing something that you think is going to happen in the future. But I think you did a really good job laying it out there. Rumors are not buy recommendations, they're not sell recommendations. And some of them are better than other, especially considering the source. Your example of penny stock pump and dumps, that might help keep you protected. And there's other rumors like we're hearing that analysts are going to upgrade such and such stock. So there's a number of different ways to play that. And I also really enjoy using the rumors category in conjunction with the mergers and acquisitions category. It's great to buy a stock for a certain price and then wake up one morning and have that stock be up 40 or 50% because it got bought out by another company. One of my best trades was actually owning Kraft when they merged with Kraft Heinz. And it was just like this. It was, you just woke up one day and all of a sudden it was up. So I love the stuff in your short list. And I think that you having a short list shows the power of this tool, right? I'm more of a technology trader. The stocks that I'm comfortable trading or that I have an edge with are mostly technology related. And I can tailor my newsfeed to show me those types of things. So there's a number of different ways to use this, and there's no real one size fits all for everyone. You kind of have to figure out what works for you and what you enjoy playing. Now, you did a really good job explaining the category tags too. So one of the power tips that I give to people, especially people that are new, that are still trying to figure out what category tags are important, is you're not limited to this one newsfeed. So this is great. We've got a short list here, some things that are really, really important, and we've color coded them. One of the other things that I can actually do is simply add another newsfeed to this workspace. And now I have two laid out right next to each other. This can be very, very helpful because on the right-hand side here, now I have an unfiltered news feed, and I'm able to see all of the news, not just some of the news that hit my short list. Also, if I wanted to like look up news for a particular stock, like for example, if I wanted to look up all of the GameStop news, all I have to do is type in the ticker at the top of the search bar, and it will go ahead and filter that news feed to only show me news posts that apply to the stock or stocks that you put in the top of the list. Now, it's worth noting you can also filter this news feed by a watch list. So if you have a pre-built watch list with a bunch of stocks that you trade on a regular basis, you can go ahead and filter it by using that watch list. But if you're doing like a quick check or a quick search on a particular stock, you may find the search bar filter quite helpful. Couple of other things to keep note of when you're using the newsfeed. Sometimes you'll see stocks with a number right next to it, and that number means that that news post actually applies to other tickers. And if you mouse over it, you'll be shown what those tickers are, and you can hover over those tickers as well. One last thing here to pay attention to: occasionally you're going to see these little arrows in the newsfeed next to stories. These are sentiment indicators, and these are put on by our news desk to tell you that, hey, this particular news post is either bullish or bearish, and then the degree of that bullish or bearishness. These range from 3 arrows down for really, really bearish to 3 green arrows up, which would be really, really bullish. And this can help give you the confidence that the news desk has looked over this piece of news and they think, you know what, this could have a positive or negative impact on the stock. Finally, if you do go about this route and having 2 news feeds set up right next to each other, one of the things that I advise that you do is click on some of these news posts that stand out to you and observe what tag they have in the news feed. That may help you discover other categories that might be important to you that you may want to add to your short list and then filter your watch list accordingly. So it's real great to have both of them up. I also really like the color coding on the filtered one because that helps catch my eye. If I'm looking through the generic news feed, I can actually just be alerted to something simply based on the color that I have in the other news feed. And like you, Jonathan, I normally install 4 or 5 different colors, and then I just remember what those colors are applied to. And it makes it really easy for me to kind of figure out where that news is or spot it as soon as that news drops.
Are we out of time, Spencer?
Yeah, just about. I mean, you guys are going to be doing this every day. So there's a lot more to go through. There's a lot more in Pro. This is just one feature. And even you didn't even get to all the ways to use the newsfeed. So we'll have more on this going forward. Actually, coming up next, I'm going to bring on one of our news deskers who can speak to specific headlines in the newsfeed and how he uses it as well. But Ryan Faloona, he's at rfaloona on Twitter. It's up on the screen there. Jonathan Mallard, you're at BZ Mallard. Is that right?
That's correct.
It's at BZ. All right, guys, as always, thanks a lot. We'll see you tomorrow for a new lesson, whatever that is.
Happy trading.
All right, see you tomorrow.
All right.